皆様は今、宇宙に向かってどうかお助けください。お金が欲しいのです。幸せになりたいのですと、毎日のように願ってはいないでしょうか。そして、これほど願っているのに、なぜ私の人生は変わらないのかと、天を恨めしく思ったことはないでしょうか。実は、その切実な願いや必死の祈りこそが、皆様を今の苦しみの中に留め、運命を停滞させている最大の原因だとしたら、どう思われますか。宇宙という存在は、決して遠く離れた場所から皆様を見下ろす、気まぐれな支配者ではありません。そして、皆様の言葉の表面的な意味を聞いているのでもありません。宇宙が聞いているのは、皆様の魂が奏でる音色そのものを、皆様の細胞一つ一つが発している振動なのです。欲しい、欲しいと願うその心の裏側にある。私には今、何もありません。私は欠乏していますという、悲痛な叫びを、宇宙は敏感に感じ取ってしまうのです。そして、その欠乏の音色に合わせて、さらに欠乏した現実を、忠実に引き寄せてしまっているのです。本日は、私が、皆様の人生を根本から、それこそ天地がひっくり返るほど、劇的に好転させるための、真の宇宙との対話法、そして言霊の極意について、時間をかけて、心を込めてお話しさせていただきます。これは、単なる精神論ではありません。宇宙を貫く、絶対的な法則の解明でございます。どうか、最後までお付き合いくださいませ。私は、出口鬼三郎と申します。本日は、人生の後半戦を生きる皆様へ、少し耳の痛い話もさせていただくかもしれませんが、それはすべて、皆様に真の幸福をつかんでいただき、残りの人生を黄金色に輝かせていただきたいという、私の溢れんばかりの愛ゆえのことと、どうかご理解くださいませ。私が長きにわたり、世の中の多くの人々、それこそ数えきれないほどの名得る魂を見つめてまいりまして、痛感していることがございます。それは、あまりにも多くの方が、宇宙や神様との話し方を、根本的に、そして致命的に勘違いされているということでございます。皆様の中には、毎日神棚や仏壇に手を合わせ、あるいは夜空の星に向かって、必死の形相で祈りを捧げている方もいらっしゃるでしょう。どうか、この苦しみを取り除いてください。何とかして、生活を楽にしてください。あの憎き病を治してくださいと。そのお姿は、一見すると信仰心が厚く、謙虚で美しいものに見えるかもしれません。しかしながら、私のようなものの目から見ますと、大変申し上げにくいことではありますが、それは少々、宇宙に対して失礼な振る舞いになってしまっているのです。なぜかと申しますと、皆様はご自身を宇宙から切り離された、無力でちっぽけな存在だと決めつけ、宇宙を気まぐれに恩恵をしだれる、遠い場所にいる権力者のように扱ってしまっているからです。これは、親と子の関係に例えれば、子供が親を他人のように思い込み、玄関先で土下座をしてお願いします。ご飯をください。見捨てないでくださいと泣いてすがっているようなものです。親であれば、何を言っているのだ。お前は私の愛する子ではないか。家の中に入って、黙って座っていれば美味しいご飯が出てくるのにと、悲しくなることでしょう。皆様、どうか思い出してください。宇宙というのは、決して皆様の外側にだけ広がっている冷たい空間ではありません。皆様の外側に広がる無限の宇宙と、皆様の内側に存在する魂の宇宙は、実は深くつながっているのです。いえ、もっと申し上げれば、皆様お一人お一人が、かけがえのない小宇宙そのものなのです。皆様の肉体は、宇宙の縮図であり、皆様の心は、宇宙の指令室なのです。それなのに、皆様はその尊い内なる宇宙に向かって、普段どのような言葉を投げかけていらっしゃるでしょうか。朝、鏡をご覧になったとき、ああ、また白髪が増えたな。年をとって、体が重いな。今日もまた、あの嫌な職場に行かなければならないのかと、ため息混じりの言葉を、ご自身に浴びせてはいないでしょうか。あるいは、テレビのニュースを見て、世の中は腐っている。政治家が悪い。凶悪な事件ばかりだ。と、 怒りや憎しみの言葉を吐き捨ててはいないでしょうか。ここで、はっきりと申し上げておきます。宇宙と対話をする上で、最も邪魔になるノイズ、それは批判と正義感でございます。多くの真面目な方々は、正しくあろうとします。それは素晴らしいことです。しかし、正しさに固執するあまり、間違いを犯す他人を裁き、社会を批判し、許せないという怒りの念を抱いてしまいます。実は、この他人を裁く心こそが、皆様と宇宙との通信回線を遮断する、最も分厚い雲となってしまうのです。皆様が誰かを批判するとき、皆様の魂は、鋭く尖った、冷たい波長を出します。宇宙は調和と愛でできていますから、その尖った波長とは共鳴できないのです。あの人が悪い。社会が悪い。そう口にするたびに、皆様は宇宙に対して、私は、愛と調和の世界には住みたくありません。私は、争いと対立の世界がお似合いですと自己紹介しているようなものなのです。ですから、宇宙との対話を始める前に、まず起こっていただきたいのは、心の選択でございます。これを古来よりみそぎと呼びます。滝に打たれる必要はございません。ただ、言葉を変えるのです。許せないという言葉を、あの人も何かの役目を演じているのだなという言葉に書き換えるのです。日本には、太古の昔より言霊という、世界に誇るべき素晴らしい英知がございます。言葉には魂が宿り、口にしたことは必ず現実になるという教えです。これは、単なる迷信や精神論などでは決してございません。現代風に言えば、宇宙を貫く物理法則そのものなのです。皆様が口にされる言葉は、単なる空気の振動ではありません。それはエネルギーの波動となって世界に広がり、やがてそれは皆様を取り巻く環境となり、人間関係となり、運命となって、必ず皆様のもとへと帰ってくるのです。良い言葉は、美しい花を咲かせる種となり、悪い言葉は、鋭い棘を持つ雑草の種となります。皆様の今いらっしゃる環境は、過去の皆様がまいた言葉の種が、芽を出して茂ったお庭そのものなのです。もし今、皆様のお庭が、悩みや苦しみという雑草で覆われているのなら、それは過去にまいた種が原因です。ですが、嘆く必要はありません。今日、今この瞬間から、まく種を変えればよいのです。言葉を変えれば、未来のお庭は、必ず美しい花園に変わります。私がこれまで拝見してきた中で、なぜか運が悪い。どうしても人生が好転しないと嘆かれる方々には、ある共通した話し方の癖がございます。それは、ないものねだりの言葉を使ってしまっている、ということです。もっとお金があれば安心なのに、もっと若ければ挑戦できるのに、あの人さえいなければ平和なのに、彼らの会話は常に、今の自分には何かが欠けている。今の状況は不完全であるという前提で成り立っています。宇宙というものは、巨大で、極めて精巧な鏡のようなものです。皆様が鏡の前で私にはないと言えば、鏡の中の宇宙はそうですか、あなたにはないのですね、と深くうなずき、そのない現実を、驚くほど忠実に再現し続けてくれるのです。皆様が辛い、苦しいと嘆けば、宇宙はなるほど、あなたは苦しいという体験がお望みなのですね。承知しましたと、さらに苦しい状況を用意しようと張り切ってしまうのです。これこそが、真面目に、誠実に生きていらっしゃる皆様が、知らず知らずのうちに陥ってしまっている、最大の落とし穴なのでございます。では、一体どうすれば、この悪循環を断ち切り、宇宙を味方につけることができるのでしょうか。その答えは、拍子抜けするほどシンプルでございます。宇宙に対する言葉の順序を変えるだけで良いのです。これからは、たとえまだ現実には起きていないことであっても、あたかもそれがすでに叶ったかのように、完了型や進行型で、穏やかに、しかし力強く話すように心がけてみてください。幸せになりたいと願うのではありません。私は今、なんて幸せなのだろうと言い切るのです。健康になりたいと懇願するのではありません。私の細胞は今、日に日に元気になっている。ありがたいことだと、先に感謝してしまうのです。おそらく、皆様の中にはそんなことは、嘘をついているようで心が苦しい。 現実とかけ離れていて、虚しいと感じられる方もいらっしゃるでしょう。そのお気持ちは痛いほどよくわかります。真面目な方ほど、事実に反することを口にするのに抵抗があるものです。しかし、ここで一つ、私が大切にしている芸術の話をさせてください。私は書画や陶芸をたしなみますが、人生もまた、一つの芸術作品だと考えております。皆様は、ご自身の人生というキャンバスに向かう画家なのです。画家が絵を描くとき、目の前の白いキャンバスだけを見て、ああ、真っ白で何もないと嘆くでしょうか。いいえ、違いますね。画家の心の中には、すでに完成された美しい絵が見えているのです。まだ現実には存在しないけれど、心の中には確実にある。それを信じて、筆を動かすのです。人生も同じです。目の前の現実がどうであれ、皆様の心の中に理想の完成図を描き、それを言葉という絵筆で表現するのです。私は豊かだと口にすることは、嘘をついているのではありません。心の中にある真実を、先取りして表現している、創造のプロセスなのです。どうぞ、嘘つきになることを恐れず、偉大なるほら吹きになってください。大きな言葉を吐いて、現実は後から辻褄を合わせればよいのです。これは、レストランで注文をする場面を想像していただければ、わかりやすいかと思います。ウェイターに向かって、カレーライスを食べたいと思っているのですが、どうにかなりませんかと泣きついても、料理は出てきません。カレーライスを一つ、お願いしますと明確に注文するからこそ、厨房が動き出し、料理が運ばれてくるのです。宇宙への注文も、これと全く同じでございます。私は豊かです。私は素晴らしい人々に囲まれています。そう断定し、宣言することこそが、宇宙との正しい、そして大人の対話法なのです。そしてもう一つ、宇宙が何よりも好む、魔法のような言葉がございます。それは、難しいお経でも、高尚な説法でもございません。愉快という言葉、そして笑いでございます。皆様、最近いつ、お腹の底からわっはっわと笑われましたか？いつ、子供のように無邪気に、単純なことで喜ばれましたか？賢い大人になろうとして、眉間にシワを寄せ、理屈ばかりこねてはいませんか？こうあらねばならない。あれは間違っていると、難しい顔をして生きてはいませんか？はっきり申し上げます。宇宙は、深刻な顔をした人間が大の苦手です。逆に、宇宙は、少々抜けていても、アホになって笑っている愉快な人間を、無条件に愛し、応援したくなるものなのです。なぜなら、宇宙のエネルギーの本質は歓喜だからです。私は常々、皆様にお伝えしております。人間は、人生を祭りとして楽しまなければ損であると。苦しい時こそ、あえて鏡の前で口角を上げ、笑ってみてください。辛い時こそ、おや、なんだか面白い展開になってきましたねと、空に向かってつぶやいてみてください。皆様、どうかアホになってください。ここでのアホとは、愚か者という意味ではありません。自分の小さな計算や、損得感情、見栄やプライド、そういった重たい荷物をすべて放り出して、裸の魂になって楽しむ、ということです。失敗したらどうしようなんて考えず、まあ、なんとかなるさと笑い飛ばす。その軽やかさこそが、重力圏を突破して、宇宙に届く唯一の翼なのです。不思議なことに、形から入って笑うだけでも、皆様の中にある神性が目覚め始めます。皆様の魂が、パッと明るく輝き出すのです。その光を目印にして、宇宙の彼方から幸運や良きご縁が、まるで雪崩のように押し寄せてくるようになります。そうは言っても、現実は厳しいのですと、皆様はおっしゃるかもしれません。介護の問題、ご自身の病気、経済的な不安、家族の不和、確かに、人生には試練とも思える厳しい冬の時代がございます。私も何度も投獄され、弾圧され、死ぬような目に遭ってきましたから、その辛さは痛いほどわかります。ですが、あえて問わせてください。その厳しい現実を前にして、深刻になって事態は好転しましたか？悩み続けて、 問題は解決しましたか？おそらく、火でしょう。泥沼にはまった時、もがけばもがくほど沈んでいきます。そんな時は、一度力を抜いて、空を見上げるのです。そして、これは、私の魂を磨くためのドラマなのだなと、客観的に眺めてみるのです。ここで、宇宙と対話する際に、絶対に忘れてはならない究極の言葉をお授けしましょう。それは感謝でございます。ありがとうという言葉は、宇宙の扉を開くための最強のマスターキーです。ただ、ここで大切なのは、何か良いことがあったから感謝するのではない、ということです。それでは、普通の方と変わりません。それでは、運命の主導権を現実に握られているのと同じです。本当の賢者は、何もない変哲もない日常に、いえ、一見すると悪いと思えるような出来事にさえも、先回りをして感謝をするのです。これを私は感謝の先払いと呼んでいます。朝、目が覚めたら、今日も命をいただき、ありがとうございます。ご飯が食べられたら、私の血肉となってくれて、ありがとうございます。体が痛むときは、ああ、体が生きて動いている証拠だ。治そうとしてくれているのだな。ありがとうございます。もし、誰かに嫌味を言われたとしても、心の中でこうつぶやくのです。私の魂を磨くための砥石となってくださり、ありがとうございます。おかげで私はまた一つ、忍耐を学び、寛容さを学び、大きな人間になれました。こうして、起きるすべての出来事に、片っ端から感謝という美しいラッピングをして、宇宙にお返しするのです。すると、どうなると思われますか？宇宙は驚きます。おや、この人はどんなボールを投げても、全部ありがとうと言って打ち返してくるぞ。なんて素敵な人なのだろうと。そして宇宙は、そんなに感謝してくれるなら、もっと感謝したくなるような、とびきりの出来事をプレゼントしようと張り切り始めるのです。これこそが、感謝の好循環でございます。一度このサイクルに入られた方は、もはや無敵です。何があっても大丈夫なのです。そして最後に、最も高度で、かつ最も安らかな境地についてお話ししましょう。それは、勘ながら、玉行きは得ましという心でございます。これは、神様のご心のままに、どうぞ良きようにお導きくださいという意味です。皆様はこれまで、ご自身の力で、ご自身の知恵で、人生をコントロールしようと必死に頑張ってこられたことでしょう。その努力は尊いものです。しかし、人生の後半戦は、もうその重たいハンドルを、宇宙に明け渡しても良い頃合いです。ご自身のちっぽけな頭で、ああでもない、こうでもないと策を浪するのは、もうをやめなさい。それは、宇宙の偉大な力を信頼していない証拠になってしまいます。どうすればお金が入るか、どうすれば病気が治るか、その方法を考えるのは人間の仕事ではありません。それは宇宙の仕事です。人間の仕事は、ただ一つ、結果を決めて、あとは機嫌よく過ごすこと。これだけです。私は、私にできる限りのことを、陽気に、愉快にやらせていただきます。あとは宇宙さん、あなた様の最高の采配で、私を幸せにしてくださいませ。どの道を通るかは、あなたにお任せしますと、全幅の信頼を寄せて、すべてを委ねてしまうのです。執着を手放したとき、初めて本当の力が流れ込んでくるのです。年齢を重ねれば、老いへの恐怖、死への不安、孤独への寂しさが忍び寄ってくることもあるでしょう。それは人間として自然なことです。ですが、その不安を決して言葉にして定着させてはいけません。不安な時こそ、お風呂の中で、あるいは散歩の途中で、私は大丈夫だ。私は大いなるものに守られていると、ご自身の耳に聞かせるように、優しく声に出してください。言葉が先で、心は後からついてきます。無理やりにでもポジティブで温かい言葉を口にしていれば、脳はその言葉を証明する証拠を探し始めます。そういえば、今日もご飯が美味しかったな。そういえば、道端の花が綺麗だったな。そういえば、店員さんが笑顔で接してくれたな。小さな幸せが見つかり始めます。それこそが、宇宙からの優しい返事なのです。宇宙との会話に、 遠慮や謙遜は一切必要ございません。もっとずうずうしく、もっと欲張りになっていただいて結構なのです。私は幸せになるために生まれてきたのです。と、胸を張ってください。皆様がご自身を卑下することは、皆様をお作りになった宇宙そのものを卑下することと同じになってしまいます。皆様は、宇宙が丹精込めて作り上げた最高傑作なのです。どうか、その誇りと自覚をお持ちください。今日、この動画を見終わりましたら、すぐに実践していただきたいことがございます。それは、皆様の身の回りにあるものへ肯定的な言葉のシャワーを浴びせることです。家の中を見回して、目につくものすべてに、優しく声をかけてあげてください。お茶碗さん、いつもありがとう。時計さん、正確に時を刻んでくれてありがとう。私の膝さん、長年体を支えてくれてありがとう。物には心があります。皆様が感謝の言葉をかければ、家中の物質が味方になり、家全体がパワースポットへと変わります。そして、空を見上げて、少し恥ずかしくても、大きな声で笑ってみてください。わ、は、わ、私はなんて運がいい人間なのだろう。ああ、愉快だ、愉快だ。と、周りの人が変な目で見るかもしれませんか。そんなことは気にする必要はございません。常識人という仮面をかぶった、眉間のシワの深い不幸な人間として生きるより、愉快な人と呼ばれて幸せに生きる方が、よほど賢く、豊かな人生ではありませんか。私は、そんな風に人生を楽しむ愉快な方が大好きです。そして間違いなく、宇宙も、そんな皆様を愛さずにはいられないでしょう。人生とは、皆様ご自身が脚本を書き、監督を務め、主役を演じる舞台でございます。その脚本を書いているペンこそが、皆様の言葉なのです。悲劇の脚本は、もう破り捨ててしまいましょう。これからは、喜びと感謝と、奇跡に満ちた、極上の喜劇の脚本を書き始めるのです。ペンは、皆様の手に、いえ、皆様の口に委ねられています。いいですか？お約束ですよ。二度とご自身に向かって、もう年だからとかどうせ無理だといった呪いの言葉をかけないでください。もし、うっかり口にしそうになったら、私のこの顔を思い出してください。私が皆様の代わりに、かつ、お入れさせていただきます。そして、すぐにいやいや、これからが私の本番だ。豊かさは、無限にあるのだ。私の人生は、これから面白くなる。と言い直してください。言葉は、何度でも書き直すことができるのです。これを、私は建て替え立て直しと呼んでいます。古い家を取り壊し、新しい立派な御殿を建てるように、皆様の心の中の古い言葉を壊し、新しい光の言葉で、人生を再建築するのです。それは、今この瞬間から可能です。遅すぎるということはありません。宇宙は、皆様が心を開いて話しかけてくるのを、今か今かと待ちわびています。建前ではない、皆様の魂からの、喜びの言葉を待っているのです。さあ、腹を決めてください。今日から皆様は、宇宙の親友です。何があっても、笑い飛ばしてください。何があっても、感謝を見つけてください。そして、堂々と、高らかに宣言してください。私の人生は、最高に面白い。と、そう言った瞬間、皆様の頭上の厚い雲が割れ、黄金の光がさんさんと降り注ぐのを、皆様は必ずや肌で感じることでしょう。私はいつでも、霊界から皆様のことを見守っております。皆様が愉快に、軽やかに、芸術的に人生を歩まれるお姿を、心より楽しみにしております。さあ、参りましょう。皆様の素晴らしい人生の、第二幕の幕開けでございます。
How are you? When you're up and down and up and down and up and down, that just means you're that means you're really sloppy in your focus. It means that you're letting whatever's around get your attention, so you're practicing a lot of vibrations And because you are practicing a lot of vibrations of wanted and unwanted, you have active within you a lot of different vibrations on a lot of different subjects. And so anytime you have an active vibration, then your point of attraction includes that active vibration. So you get some of that, and 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 that, and that, and that, and that. But as you get better and better at caring about how you feel and reaching for more and more thoughts that feel better and better to you, it's what we call deliberate creation, deliberately focusing rather than focusing by default. Deliberately focusing on more and more things that feel better, so that you're practicing that vibration that feels good longer, steadier, so that the vibration within you does not have such a broad range. Now, law of attraction brings you the contrast within that range. Ooh, don't you like knowing that? Law of attraction is always bringing you the contrast within the range that you've been practicing. So what have you been practicing? Well, the best way to ask yourself that is, how have you been feeling? Pretty good. Well, then your range is that. Sometimes people say, well, if I could just get more of the things I want, I would feel better. You compare yourself to others. You see many others who are feeling really good, and you say, well, of course they feel good. Look at how they live. Look at how they look. Look at who they live with. Of course they feel better. They have all of the things that I want. So it's easy for them to feel good with all of that money and all of that good stuff surrounding them. And we say, we get how when you see someone living something that you want to live that you aren't living, that you would feel uncomfortable because you're looking at the opposite of what you want. You're looking at the lack of what you want. But we want you to understand that it does not matter where you stand. You can today begin cleaning up your vibration. You can today begin feeling a little better. And as you feel a little better, that's your indicator that you are cleaning up your vibration. And by that we mean you're not introducing so many of the I know what I don't wants to the equation. It's more, I like that, I prefer that. We want you to remember that you are vibrational beings. It's hard to remember that because you're so tangible, you're so physical, you're so flesh, blood, and bony. We know. You are physical and you live in a physical world, and so you are accustomed to seeing the things that are physical in nature and calling it your reality. And we call it your reality too, but there is a vibrational reality that is at the basis of all of the tangible, manifested, realized reality. And that reality is the reality that we want you to begin to give your attention to. Because if you can get out ahead of the manifestation by focusing upon the vibration that is the precursor to all manifestation, now, not only will you have a more joyful romp through life experience, but you will have more deliberate control of what does manifest. Now, we're really not too excited about helping you control your manifestations in the sense that we really don't want you to measure them and catalog them and pigeonhole them and try to understand your world from the framework of the manifestations. It's what almost everybody you know is doing. You're comparing your stuff to each other. And while that is certainly a natural process, it slows you way, 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 way down. If you were making one comparison and one comparison only, and that is the vivid all day, really easy to discern comparison between what your vibrational frequency is right now, this red hot minute, given the attention that you're given to whatever you're giving your attention to. Follow that? Whatever you're looking at is causing you to offer a vibration. And the source within you, that's where we come in, is looking at the same thing right now from our perspective or our opinion. And so, Source has an opinion about what you have an opinion about. And if the opinion that Source has about what you have the opinion about meshes, matches, merges, harmonizes, if it's the same, in other words, if you're looking at somebody and you're loving them, your opinion matches. But if you're looking at someone and you're not loving them, not so much, well, Abraham, you should have seen what they did. If you're looking at someone and you're feeling something less than love, you see, You don't walk around feeling less than love. You walk around thinking thoughts that give you the feeling of less than love. You don't think, I'm going to not love you. You think, I don't like what you just did. Or I don't like what you just said. You focus negatively in an attitude of trying to push away from you something unwanted. And when you do that, you do something different than the source within you is doing right here, right now, about the same subject. And so the feeling of I don't love you, the feeling of absence of love, is the feeling you get when you diverge, when you depart, when you contradict the opinion that the larger part of you holds. Now, how does that settle with you? Does it make you feel funny that there's someone with such an opinion about what you've got going on? We are the product of what you've been synthesizing. We are the sum total of all that you've lived. We stand as the vibrational equivalent of what you've come to. So you cannot separate yourself from us, but you can introduce enough resistance between that which is you and that which is us that you can make yourself feel bad. And then you blame it on everything else. You blame it on that guy. You blame it on that other thing that happened. You blame it on some circumstance or some event. And we want you instead to take credit for every emotion that you feel, because every emotion that you feel is the simple byproduct or indicator of your frequency as it relates to the total frequency of who you are. So when we are talking about that relationship between you and you, we're talking about the vibrational relationship between you as you stand right now, given the opinion that you hold, and you that has become the vibrational equivalent of that which is us. You that is already living the dreams that you've dreamed. You that is already spending the money that you've gathered. You that is already knowing the things that you want to know. Because you can't ask a question about something that you want to know without sending out the rocket of the knowledge of it. In the moment you ask the question, we know the answer. That's how this powerful law of attraction universe works. And do you know why? In the moment that you pose the question or live in the problem, that we know the answer or the solution. Do you understand why the solution is instantaneous for us? Because when that rocket goes off and there is no resistance, the solution must be instantaneous. You could do that too if you weren't so hung up on explaining the problem. You get so invested in your problems because most of you view the world in an action-oriented way, and you think that there is someone, it was like your mother and father at first, someone who holds the answers, but you have to get in line. In other words, it's like your mother says to you, do you think you are the center of the universe? I have more important things to think about today than that. But the universe never says that to you. The universe says, when you ask, it is given. And the only question that we want to ask you is, where are you in relationship to the answer that has been given? We like your desire to feel fresh. We like you to feel eager about it. We like you to know that the creation of a button or a castle is equal in this vibrational universe in which we are all living. It's just a matter of focus. So when you get it, that you are the focuser of your reality into beingness, and that part of that focus is choice, and part of that choice is contrast or variety. When you come to realize that just like when you are at your food buffet, where no one, not lately anyway, is forcing things onto your plate. No one is making you choose specific things. You're just choosing because life has shown you what you prefer. And so that is the way we see this contrast that you're, started to say engulfed in, but that sounds like it's a little bit oppressive. And sometimes you feel oppressed by the variety. But the better you get at focusing, the less oppressive the variety will feel. Because you can focus your variety into piles of really delightful, sort of delightful, and only delightful. In other words, you do not have to run the gamut of horrible to wonderful. Your choices will clarify the more you focus in the direction of what is wanted. So if you have a broad range of contrast, we haven't talked to you about this before, not in this way. If you have a really broad range of contrast, like things are going really good and then things are going really bad, or you are feeling really wonderful and then you are feeling really awful, your doctors want to call that something that we won't give a label to. Are you appreciating the contrast that helps you to focus your desire into being? That's the most significant question, and we are sad that you lied just now, but we are never sad. But you did lie. But that is a very good goal for you, to come to the place where you are enjoying the variety for the choices that it helps to formulate within you. It's a really good thing when you realize that you are the creator of your own reality, and that the reality that you are creating is born within you first, the first step of it, in variety or contrast. The word variety sounds better to you than the word contrast, doesn't it? Variety, a plethora of delightful things from which I can choose. But contrast is also that plethora of delightful things from which you can choose. Because you would not know what you wanted if you did not know what you do not want. It really is that simple. You just don't need to get so carried away in the holding yourself apart from it that your desire moves into that stronger place of fretful yearning. You feel fresh, new, burgeoning desire. When desire feels like that, you know you are on the path, don't you? Because when what you want feels good to you, even before it has been realized by you, even before it is actualized in your experience, then you know that you are on the wavelength that not only will bring you what you are wanting, it must, because law of attraction says it is so, but you're having a good time now, not waiting for the manifestation before the good times roll, yeah? And if you are in that place where you are needing something to manifest before you feel hopeful or optimistic or eager, it really slows things down, doesn't it? And yet, you are, we love you very much, hooked on manifestation, aren't you? You like that tangible, lickable, seeable, hearable. You like that stuff. And we like you to like it because, after all, you are in these magnificent bodies. You are out here on the leading edge. You are bringing all that we all are forward into the newest manifestations. And the manifestations are the leading most part of creation. They are. You're not here proving some sort of worthiness in order to go sit on a cloud with us later. We don't sit on clouds, by the way. We romp with you through the woods. We sail with you on your boats and fly with you on your planes and walk with you on your paths and eat your meals with you. We sing your songs with you and paint your paintings with you and write your books with you and read your books with you. We play with your dogs and theirs. A lot of dogs here. A lot of dogs. So consider this for just a moment, because this is a really good opportunity to understand something that we've been talking about. So you want to be an uplifter. So you have to continue to activate and keep active your knowing that you are an uplifter, and you have to give no attention to whether you are uplifting anyone or not. Because in doing so, now you're aware of their response to you, which is where it goes wonky. You have to leave their response to you out of it, because that's on them. And only do it for your response to your own desire. Do you know, there are those who will not be uplifted, If you've got your eye on whether they're being uplifted or not, then you lose your connection and then you feel bad. So this has to be a singular intent only. I do it. Why? Why do I do it? I want to feel good and I want to be in alignment so that I can uplift them. Because now their response to you is part of the equation, and that's where it always gets muddled. So stop for just a moment. Imagine your inner being, or imagine a cluster of inner beings which you want to call Source. Try to get a visual on Source aware of all of you. And do you think Source is ever saying, look at all those suckers of energy? And you know why Source would never feel that way or think that way? Because Source remains in the replenishing mode. And so there's never any drag, there's never any drain. And not so with you either. So that wasn't our intent to point out to you that there is a drain. We just want you to feel the never-ending replenishment that is always yours. Because we really want you to hear this. You cannot focus too specifically when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on. But you can focus too specifically when you're not. This is a really good conversation, because the thing about that is, so you're tuned in, ideas start to come, you're flowing with them, and it's good until it isn't. So when it stops feeling good, does that mean that the work that you did before is irrelevant, or does it just mean leave it there for now? That's what we call don't try so hard, don't try to make it happen, don't try to push the noodle. Here's the thing. If you've let it get to anxiety, then there's nothing for you to do in the moment, because everything you try to do to get rid of anxiety will cause more anxiety. That's why we say, let's get out ahead of it. Don't fall in the hole and then try to climb out. Stay away from the hole. That's what we mean by getting out ahead of it. Be nicer to yourself. Give yourself more time. Do the things that soothe you most. Don't get depleted and then try to fix it. Do the things that encourage the opposite of depletion, which is renewal and replenishment. Find a time to meditate and do more basking and get off to yourself and let yourself daydream. Because if you're out ahead of it, more momentum can happen. If you've caught yourself in resistance and you try to fix it, the momentum follows the resistance rather than the allowing. Does that make sense to you? Whatever's most active within you, that's the direction that it's going to go. A while back, and Esther demonstrated it for friends the other day, we encouraged Esther to take a piece of paper and in one corner write something that was representative of good things she wants. And in the other corner of the paper, we asked her to put a symbol that was evidence or an indicator of things unwanted. And then we asked her to make herself a dot right in the middle of the bottom of the paper. And then we asked her to just begin daydreaming. And so she thought a thought that was in harmony with all the good things she wants. We just began drawing a little line from where she was in that direction. And as she thought more, then more. And as she thought more, then more. But eventually, and quicker than she would want to admit, but it was perfect and fine, she got somewhere where she thought a thought that started to go off this way. In other words, it was a action thought, a what I need to do thought, or an old belief thought. But because she had some momentum already going that way, in the moment that she started to go that way, she caught it and then thought a better thought about that, and off she went again. And then another thought sort of tried to take her over there, but she caught it and thought a better thought, and off she went. Now, this is another way. In other words, you can, if you're in a good feeling place and you are sensitive to the way you feel, you can think the thoughts deliberately. You could meditate and get tuned in, which would lead you to blissful thoughts. And then you could receive an idea that just feels really good, and for a moment in time, you could be right there. But what trips you up is you don't want to just be there in energy or in emotion. You want the manifestation. And in the moment that you begin the efforting, that's when you begin moving in the other direction. If we could convince you that everything you want is because you want to feel good in the having of it, then if you could let the feeling good be the singular intention that you have, not uplifting the world, not fixing things that are broken, not making the world a better place, but just having a really good time being the bright light that you are. Yeah? We're not for a moment asking you to discard those thoughts. It's wonderful to get an idea about what you want to do. So we're not suggesting for a moment that when those thoughts come, that you shouldn't pursue those thoughts. Satisfaction comes from one place and one place only. Having an idea of what you want and moving in the direction of it. All we're asking you to be more aware of is when you are being a dream killer to your own dream. That's all. Don't be practical about your dreams, because when you're practical about them, you try to put pieces in that you don't have yet. You are practical. You are humans. And it's the thing that Esther is most focused upon, not focusing upon these days. It's the thing that she's most focused upon, not focusing upon. She wants to jump into action too soon because the dream doesn't feel like it's enough, but it is. The dream is enough. And if you can dream it and it's enough, and dream it and it's enough, and dream it and it's enough, and dream it, it's enough, it will demand things of you that you can't not give it, but they will be things that are in harmony with the dream. The impulse will be so strong that nothing could keep you from following that. And that's the difference between receiving the thought and trying to think it into place. Did you get that? So good. What we're wanting Esther to understand means don't be so practical so soon. Every desire needs work on resistance. The problem is the work on resistance just makes the resistance more. So rather than work on resistance, what you're wanting to work on is more allowance, which is finding ways to feel better about the desire. So let's talk about something real. The other day, Esther was visiting with some friends, and they went on a day journey, just a few hours, up into the Rocky Mountains. So Esther set herself up in that she's pre-paved, in that she imagined a nice day, and it was. And she imagined lots of fun and laughter with her friends, and there was that. When that moment of ecstasy came, it was just momentum. There had been no subterfuge to the momentum, which just meant, I like this, 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 I like this. And soon there is a crescendo that just takes your breath away. And you feel like the most blessed and the most loved. But most people don't do that. Most people say, I like this, not that so much. I like this, not that so much. I like this, I could do without that. And so the momentum doesn't build to that place of ringing your bells in that way. Does that make sense to you? Now that's just an example of a few hours in a car together. But your whole life is that way. This is good, this isn't. This is good, this isn't. This is good, this isn't. The subject here is the subject of momentum. Esther translates into some of her old-fashioned vocabulary that many of you may not even be able to relate to. It's like priming the pump. Priming the pump. Did you ever prime a pump? Sometimes you have to suck on a hose to get it going, and then once it gets going, then so priming the pump, or get out ahead of it, segment intend, look for positive aspects. You cannot be practical because your practicality will kill the momentum. That objectivity, that practicality is, I really want more money, but I don't have enough right now. I really want more money, but my family never had enough money. I really want more money, but my job just doesn't pay enough. I really want more money, but so there's not an allowance of the laws of the universe to help you out. So it takes some decision, and we like determination, but we want your determination to be focused upon the determination to find the best feeling thoughts. And if you find yourself working too hard at it, then it's not really a good exercise. So the easiest thing to get momentum going is to find something that it's easy to get momentum going about. Now we're going to give you something here that's going to help you enormously. This will make sense to all of you. It's our favorite way of explaining this. Every subject is two subjects, like the end of the stick that has what you want on it and the end of the stick that has the absence of what you want on it. I want more money is one end of the stick. I don't have enough money is the other end. So let's say that that's not the only stick in the pile. There's the money stick, there's the relationship stick, there's the way I earn my money stick, there's the friendship stick, there's the lover stick, there's the where I live stick, there's all this bundle of sticks. And let's say that you've decided that you're going to identify and isolate feeling good on the money stick. So you think about it, but the other end of the stick, you've practiced it more. So every time you try to think about or daydream about more money, you just become more practical and realize that you don't have enough. So you try, but it's a struggle and you never really get there. And then you feel like you're not good at this. But what if in that pile of sticks, there was a really good feeling stick? Maybe it's your dog, your little dog. That cute little dog that licks your face, that cute little dog that you have never had anything but a blissful thought about. You just can't bring yourself to do anything but love that dog. Do you have one of those dogs? Do you know one of those dogs? So that little dog, as you're thinking about that little dog, you're thinking about that little dog, and it's so easy to be on that end of the stick. And so you think about the little dog, you think about cute little dog, that dog that waits for you and loves you and is so unconditional in that love and so really adorable. Think about the pictures of that dog that is so easy for you to love. So that's the stick that you're focused upon. And the other end of the stick just is not activated at all. By activating that end of that stick, you now have access to that end of all of those sticks. Now you might jump to the money stick, in which case you'll go to the other end. But it takes a minute. And meanwhile, you did good work on all the end of all those sticks if you just understand that it's a vibrational thing that you're doing here. You're tuning yourself to this end of the stick, which is to say you're tuning yourself to positive expectation, which is to say you're tuning yourself to the way your inner being looks at all your sticks, which means you're tuning yourself to pure positive energy, which means you're tuning yourself to being in the receiving mode, which means you're tuning yourself to being in the vortex, which means you're tuning yourself to being a vibrational match to what's in your vortex. You see what we're getting at? So don't be practical. Take the path of least resistance. What is the easiest stick to feel good about? Whatever it is. And before you know it, you'll feel good about just about all the sticks. And if you're like most humans, you'll still focus upon the problem stick. You don't need to. So it works the other way too. Maybe you've got this pile of sticks and you're feeling pretty good about them. You like your house, you like your mate, you like your job, you're doing really good. You just don't like that one neighbor. Well, you know, you could focus upon the neighbor or the barking dog that lives with the neighbor. You could focus there, and before you know it, you've activated the other end of all of your sticks, because that's the way tuning is.